People, deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, and I hope you're all doing well and safe, whoever you are, wherever you are. Now, the good news is that, we're moving closer to the Premier League season starting. Couple of days away at this rate. We kick off on Saturday against Fulham. I know I have a lot of fans that support other teams, so whatever your team is doing, you're competing at some level. But until October comes, the transfer market is still open. There's still going to be a lot of rumbling. As an Arsenal fan, I won't say I'm disappointed because it's not over until the fat lady sings, and like I just said, the window's closed. But it does seem like, what started with a bit of promise, winning the FA Cup and the Community Shield very quickly, seeing Gabriel come, obviously Saliba returning, Willian complementing the side, talk of Aubameyang new deal, talk of Partey, Arawa, previously, it was Coutinho. Again, we know, even Thiago, we know the bulk of this isn't going to happen and these signings won't happen. For me, it just screams intent. Like, if you're not going to get Arawa, can you get me someone that can play as an 8 or play as a midfielder? If you can't get Partey, can you get me that box-to-box midfielder that can put a foot in if Torreira is going to leave? Aubameyang, big statement for me. Arteta goes into the season not having to field questions about Aubameyang and his captain's future. With every good result, he's going to have to commit. With every bad result, can he afford to spend his last few days at Arsenal? I don't want that to be a thing, So there's a lot, it's not over. Again, I'm not in the Arsenal dressing room or the boardroom. I don't know any signings we're going to make. So, small hope. Youth level, we've been sending people out on loan and things like that. We've technically freed up wages with Nketiah. And, hopefully there'll be some more outgoings, because one has to wonder how much ingoings can we make, especially when we haven't got money allegedly with a lot of these players on the wage bill. And we've got some average players on high wages, which makes it a double whammy. The players that can bring out value, in your heart you don't want to sell. Like Torreira might not be a fit, but in your heart you don't really want to sell Torreira. There's a use for him. There's more people that deserve to leave before Torreira. Maitland-Niles the same. He was linked with a move, don't really deserve that. Guendouzi, his attitudes tip the balance, but there's midfielders that need to go before him. Moving away from that though, and it's the same old stuff really. First and foremost, we might as well skip to it. It's the wrong way I wanted to do this. David Ornstein is saying we've rejected a second bid by Aston Villa for Martinez, our goalie, believed to be 10 million. Allegedly, our asking price is 20. Now, 20, I think we should be aiming for at least 30. Pickford went. I know he's got the English premium, but Pickford went to Everton for that. Is Martinez a better or worse keeper than Pickford? I'll leave you lot to answer that. You should know the obvious. So we should be getting top dollar. Obviously, the fact that he's contracted until 2022 for this window gives us a bit of wiggle room, because it's not like he has, well, in January we'll have 6 months left or so on his contract. He's got an extra year, so we're in a strong sort of position. There is talk of giving him a new deal. Number twos are hard to come by. Good number twos, I'd say number two strikers and number two goalies, they're very hard to come by today in today's day and age. So when you get two decent keepers, you've got to hold on to them. Now, Leno and Martinez, the situation can't continue as it is. In theory, yeah, it's great, whoever earns the shirt plays, and both of them know that. But sooner or later, it's got to give. You're not going to have too many opportunities. For Martinez, it's a target on your back. The minute you play bad, rightly so, Leno takes his spot. And then it's down to Leno to hold it. All Martinez wants to do, I believe, if he's given assurances that he fits into their plans, and he started again in the final, so you'd believe so, he will stay. But he's been linked with previously Leeds. Apparently Villa have lodged a second bid of 10 million, which we shouldn't be selling him. We will need to bring in a backup goalie as well. And if that was to happen, we've been, as you lot know, we've been linked with David Raya of Brentford, Some reports say Arsenal are struggling to make any progress in the pursuit of David Raya. Brentford are currently not even willing to negotiate, and they are very insistent that he's simply not for sale. Raya is open to the Arsenal move, and I understand, I can't remember the journalist I took this from, I think it's Sam Dean, forgive me for mispronunciation, he said, and I understand he has told Brentford how he feels. Now, on one hand, Arsenal, be serious now, respect to Brentford and that, and I big up Brentford, but if you want David Raya now, you go get him. I'm sorry, I hear people cannot be for sale, but there's certain things, if you want to play, you go and get them. I can't imagine he wouldn't want to move. We'll go for negotiations. Right now, I can't see us doing anything beyond probably putting the feelers out and gauging how feasible a transfer deal will be done. The first priority is clearly to keep Martinez and not to sell him and make our squad weaker. If he does dig his heels in and carries himself a certain way and insists on leaving, then we have to go and do this. And David Raya, he'll be happy to be plan B, be number 2. You know, he counts as homegrown, which helps us as well. You know, you're hearing, I said it last night, apparently Holding's convinced Arteta to perform a U-turn, and maybe that's been because of form, maybe that's ability, maybe that's with the homegrown rule, in which, you know, we can't get rid of everybody, you know. So that's how one says, people. Apparently, another report said David Raya has reportedly told Brentford he is open to a transfer to Arsenal, but the Premier League side are no closer to signing the goalie, according to the Telegraph. So make of that what you will. Now, I'm not sure how much I believe these rumours, considering Newcastle have just announced the signings of Harry Wilson, of Callum Wilson and Fraser, you know. Eddie Nketiah has been linked with a loan move to Newcastle. You know, he played well at home against Newcastle, if I remember correctly. Now, on one hand, I think it would be wise to sell Eddie, loan him out. You know, if he's going to get game time at Newcastle, you know, Newcastle fans, they're very well supported when they are allowed back in the stadium. It's a religious sort of cult following, so I think, you know, there's big expectations at Newcastle. Obviously, he's not going to be given the number 9 shirt, but there's been some big strikers, to put it nicely, that have played for Newcastle, you know. They know they're strikers. It'd be a good little year to go and learn there and play in front of them, you know. If I was Steve Bruce, putting myself in his shoulders, I can't see why you would go for Eddie on loan, beyond the fact of, you know, he's young, he's got legs, he could be utilised in the side, because I think Eddie's a decent player. He presses well. Since he's come back from Leeds, he does look stronger and more assured of himself, and he has done well to make himself go from a young player to sort of rotation option at Arsenal. But the numbers, you know, he works hard and stuff, you know. Newcastle struggle for goals, you know. I'm not an expert, but when they signed Joe Linton, I said I can't believe they spent 40 million on him, purely because I was watching him as a result of seeing Reece Nelson at Hoffenheim, and he is very raw, he is very much a brute. So you can't really go from that to go for Eddie Nketiah. I'm not saying Eddie's not better than him, I'm saying look at the numbers, because when you look at Eddie's numbers, forgive me if I'm wrong, I can't even find them now at my time of need. He's got 4 goals in 17 appearances, you know. In the Premier League, that's probably, you know, I'm pretty sure he's bagged 3 times in about 20 odd appearances. So again, for as much as I think Eddie's learning and he's developing, and I would keep him in the squad, because, you know, if Lacazette gets injured, and the work rate that Arteta typically wants from his strikers, whether Eddie starts or Lacazette starts, it's a lot of work, man. So typically one of them is always subbed. I like Eddie. He shows he can bag goals. He's bagged goals at youth level. Scored a hat trick the other day for England. He's shown he can have a role, but, you know, it's a tricky one, because you've got to show that you can do more than score goals, because it's not always going to be a game like that, but ultimately you're going to live or die by goals. And currently, you know, he's still young. He's 21 years of age. How many strikers are the finished product at 21? But the numbers aren't there, so it could be worth going on loan. You know, he's made I don't know where that article got the 17 appearances from, but in 17 championship appearances, he scored 3 goals. Now, he weren't always playing 90 minutes. He didn't play 90 minutes. Did he even start too tough? So let's be fair. But still, you know, give him a bit of context. But still, it's hard. He's made 21 appearances in the Premier League now. A lot has been sub and things like that, but he's only bagged 3 times. And there's been several times where he can improve his finishing and should improve his finishing. I like Eddie. You hear how, you know, in isolation, he was utilising his home gym, and he does a lot of work beyond what Arteta does with the main group, so he wants to improve. But the numbers, you know, we need him to be a bit better if he wants to develop beyond the squad player. 21 appearances in the league, in the Premier League for Arsenal, 3 goals. I rate Eddie's thing, I respect him, but he's, you know, getting to that level of scoring goals is something that he needs to do. And if he can go and play regular football and do that at Newcastle, fantastic. I guess Newcastle, he'll be a fantastic option for them, but I can't see. Again, I think Eddie's better than Joe Linton right now, because Joe Linton's not showing nothing. But looking at the numbers, you can't go from one struggling striker to, you know, a young and untested one. Again, you can utilise him in the side if you've got Harry Wilson. I keep saying Callum Wilson, who's more experienced. You've got Eddie Nketiah, he might show he can chip in. You know, Ryan Fraser's a winger and his numbers aren't that productive, but, you know, you're bringing in man that can kind of score goals and share the burden. Then I'm all for that, man. There's every case for Eddie to go to Newcastle on loan and play under Steve Bruce, but there's every case for him to stay and be part of the side, in my opinion. I mean, I don't see us signing another striker this window, so I think it's worth keeping Eddie in the side. But Eddie and Joe, I want them to stay and be part of the squad. I think they can be utilised, but there's every reason for them, if they can go to any team where they can get 20 starts plus and develop significantly, then it could be worth doing that. Because again, if you force your way into the side, you force your way into the side, like Eddie did and like Joe did early in the season when he started against Liverpool off the back of a good game, I believe, against Newcastle, you know. But we need that consistency level. If you can go out somewhere where you can play on a regular basis and not fizzle out, that's fine. Maybe develop somewhere where there's no pressure, because again, not every player is going to be Saka and Martinelli, but when Saka and Martinelli and Greenwood and all of these players are doing what they do at their respective clubs, fans look at the other youngsters and say, why aren't you doing that? So there's always going to be pressure, but can Joe and Eddie go somewhere where they can develop with less pressure, less scrutinisation? So we'll have to see what happens in that regards in relation to Eddie, man. So Martinez, we've rejected a bid. We've spoken about Eddie. Off topic, the Nketiah Cup has been announced. Arsenal will play Leicester City in the 3rd round. According to Football Mercato, Lyon have joined Arsenal in the race to sign AZ Alkmaar attacker Moron Baidu. I like him a lot. I think he's a striker with a lot of potential, but again, I can't see us going for a striker this window. I know we've been linked with Edouard and then Bile and Baidu in this, but I'm not too sure, because I'd like to. I'm not saying, like I said, Aubameyang's not going to be here forever. So in the short to long term, you need to find that another striker. I know Aubameyang's playing out wide, so I get it. I do think there's a case to go for another striker or look for a striker of sorts of some stature. But by the same token, I believe for this window, the priority was bringing in a centre-half or two, is renewing Aubameyang still, is bringing in a centre-half or centre midfielder or two equally as well. Maybe if there's money left aside where you've addressed all these areas, you can look to get a striker. But I just feel, these are the more pressing areas, and we've done decent things with Saliba coming in. Gabriel, obviously Marie's not had enough time to show what he's on, hoping he can be a decent addition. Apparently, reports in Italy are saying Fiorentina have ended their chase for Lucas Torreira. Apparently, Arsenal are not willing to reduce their asking price of €30 million, despite Fiorentina offering to pay €25 million to be paid in two installments. So there's a difference over €5 million, and that's nice to see, man. We can utilise Torreira in the side, but if we are going to lose him and he is going to be a tactical misfit for Arteta, get decent money, because Torreira is these sort of players, whether you rate him or not, he can go to a Florentino or Torino, a team that's been linked with him, play for a couple of years, and you typically see these men go Juventus or go to a Spanish team for more bread. And we got to make sure we've got a sell-on clause, or we get some bread from this to kind of mitigate against that. So we'll have to see what happens, man. Finally, a fullback I've seen a decent amount of, watching Portuguese football here and there. Apparently, Mikel Arteta is stepping up his quest for further reinforcements at Arsenal this summer, with the club reportedly making a declaration of intent to sign Sporting Lisbon's Nuno Mendes. According to Portuguese outlet O Jogo, the Gooners are contemplating a bid for the 18-year-old who has impressed in his 9 appearances in the Premier League last term. Now, I was only seeing him, I don't watch Portuguese football religiously, but I watch the highlights, I watch what games are available to me, and again, I'm not watching them Sporting or them religiously, but when I came aware of him playing at fullback is when, towards the end of the season. So I don't know if there was an injury in Sporting's team and he took advantage, but I like him, and he's positive, he likes to get forward, he is still a bit raw, there is still a lot I don't know about him, but from the bits I've seen, I would take a chance on this 18-year-old. The problem is we seem to be linked with these young Portuguese wonder kids all the time, and nothing seems to come of it. We was linked with his teammate Joe Leeson, I can't never say his name. Bad boy player, a lot of potential for the future. And again, we might still sign him, but nothing's came of it. And and beyond, going on the same logic of that, I can't see it with this. He's got potential, and he could very much well be a quality left back of tomorrow, in which this will look silly. But right now, and I know there's talk of Kolasinac going back to Schalke, and there's talk of going to Roma and Leverkusen. But right now, on paper, at least until you move him on, you've got Kolasinac, you've got Bukayo Saka, who I want to see play in the flanks and can also be utilised as a 10 and does well at left back. He can be used at left back, and he's part of the team. Maitland-Niles, you want to see him in an ideal world, play at right back and he's fit for left back, but Maitland-Niles can play either or. So you've got about 3, apologies for kicking the camera, you've got 3 men that can do that job without talking about people being moved on. When you move people on, then I can get it. And stuff. A lot of people would ask, what for Joe Lopez, the young left back we signed from Barcelona? He needs to really assert himself at 23's level, and really, I think he had a more positive second season at the club, but I think he really needs to play out of his skin before we can talk about getting a chance in the first team. But the talent is there, it's up to him. that's for those that might be saying, why would we do that when we've got him? And I recognise a lot of you are not watching youth football on a regular basis. That's all I've got, really and truly, people. So we'll see what happens, man. Of course, you know, the Partey rumours are still there. Apparently Partey wants to leave, but he doesn't want to burn bridges at Atletico. You know, then we're being reverted to the release clause. It's same old with him and Arawa and these typical names. But hopefully there's progress with them. For me, it sounds cliche, and I know Arsene Wenger used to get poked fun out of saying it, but Aubameyang signing a new deal is a statement of intent for me, and is like a new signing. So on that note, I've got nothing more to add, so I'm going to get out of here. It's always a pleasure. Deluded, I'm out.